If you're watching this when this video comes out, I just want to tell you happy Thanksgiving. And in this time of year, I always like to reflect on the things that I have to be grateful for. And since I talk about money here, it got me thinking about money and the relationship between gratitude and more money. I was recently reading an article in Morgan Housel's new book, The Art of Spending Money. And in that article, he said, it's astonishing to witness someone gain what they thought they always wanted, only to realize that happiness is more complicated than they first assumed. And I think this sums up our relationship with money so well. Is within business, we set goal after goal after goal. We chase thing after thing after thing. And it's easy to think that achieving those things is going to lead to that gratitude, thankfulness, and happiness. But what we find time and time again is that it's easy to believe the lie that you're behind, even when you're not. Earlier this year, I started running again. I ran when I was much younger, started to get back into that this year, and have enjoyed the process of learning and growing in this. I've improved my times. I've felt my recovery be better. I've gone longer distances, and I've really started to gain momentum. And then a few weeks back, I ran in a 5K to see how my 5K time had improved over when I last ran it. I'm feeling good. I'm pushing myself. I'm going to that limit to see how much the time has improved. I know I have still work to do, but I'm excited and enthusiastic because I see the progress as I'm in the race. And then all of a sudden, again, no offense meant to anyone, but I'm passed by an old lady in a turkey costume. And this moment, you can go one of two ways. You can beat yourself up and say, how am I getting beaten by that person? Or you can just laugh and enjoy the moment, enjoy the absurdity of what you just saw. And I think as business owners, it's too easy to get into a spot where we're consistently minimizing our wins. Sometimes we minimize those because we're just beating ourselves up. Other times we minimize those because we compare to other people and expect that we should be where they are, even though we have a completely different set of circumstances. And when we put ourselves in this position of minimizing wins, we end up in this cycle where we minimize a win that leads to a scarcity mindset for us because we're always down or negative about ourselves. That negativity then leads to bad decision making. And then bad decision making leads to more minimization and really just reinforces that cycle of continuing to go through this process. And we start to self-sabotage ourselves. And when we start to self-sabotage ourselves, we're making scarcity-driven decisions. And I think this is where it's really important that gratitude comes in. Because when we are grateful for things, you're forced to look at what you've built, what's working, who's with you, who is on your team, who is fighting for you, and what you've survived. When we're forced to reflect and think on those things, it resets our mind and it forces us to be truthful with ourselves. When we minimize and act out of scarcity, we get into this negativity loop that then results in bad decisions because that negativity is driving us to make decisions out of fear. But when we instead focus on gratitude, thankfulness, that results in forcing us to look at decisions through a more truthful lens because we're weighing each side and we're seeing that this negativity that had previously outweighed all of that positivity, we're seeing it become much more in balance. And when those things come into balance, our decision making improves. And then naturally, as our decision making improves, we start to make decisions that are going to improve the financial outcomes of our business and our lives. So, on this Thanksgiving, as we're spending time with family, potentially spending time away to work, it makes for a really good time to reflect on what has gone on in your business. Ask the questions. What wins have we had over the last 365 days? Write them down. Too often they come and go and we never think about them again. And it's easy when we forget those wins to, again, get in that negative loop. The next question is, what challenges did we overcome? When you're in business, you're naturally going to come up against challenges. And in those challenges, you're going to be forced to reckon with that negative side of that challenge, getting into that bad loop. But when we make it through that challenge to the other side, again, it's easy to move on and just think that's what was supposed to happen. But there was a negative side of that challenge that could have come to be. So if we made it through that challenge, even if we just barely survived, it's worth reflecting on, being grateful for that challenge, because out of every one of those challenges comes lessons. And then last, we want to ask, where are we stronger today than we were a year ago? And in those strengths are wins that we may have otherwise missed. Did you have exposure because you were light on cash and now you have more cash in the bank? Do you have a better relationship with your clients? Are your employees in a more stable spot? There's a million ways that you can look and see. My employee has a year more experience. I have a year more stability with my clients. I have a much clearer offer to those clients, and that clarity has led to better sales. Again, we can look at all of these things across the business and we can be grateful for them. And in being grateful for them, we're then forced to acknowledge that and reckon with that as we make day-to-day decisions. And by reckoning with that in day-to-day decisions, we're going to improve our decision-making process. I want to walk away from this video with this one thought for you. You already have more than you think. Through these reflections, hopefully you've seen that and thought about that. There are always less fortunate people out there, and no matter how difficult things are been, there's always something we can be grateful for. And so when you're thankful and grateful for the things in your business that have gone well, the lessons you've learned, the ways that you're stronger, when you've done those things, that spills over into that personal life. And so as you hopefully take this little break from business and think about what you have to be thankful for, know that those things in business spill over to the personal and impact your happiness, thankfulness, and gratitude within that space as well. I hope that this year has treated you well. And I hope that through this exercise, you have been able to reset your mind to put you in a better framework for making better decisions. So happy Thanksgiving. Take the rest. You have earned it. And we'll talk to you again soon.